Hi, it's Martina, and today I'm going to be talking about my Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone reread experience and review, and everything I have to say about getting re-immersed in this amazing world J.K. Rowling creates. And yeah, so let's just get into it. So I actually never technically read Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone or like any of the Harry Potter series, really. My dad read them to me. There were a couple times when he was on business trips where I would read along in a book. We'd have 2 copies of some of the books, so I would read like 50 pages and he would too, and then when he came back, then he would keep reading from where we left off. But for the most part, he read all those books to me, and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone was definitely one I did not read any of. This book was read to me like 15 years ago probably. I'm like 21 now, so I was like 5 or 6 when my dad read me this book, and so if you can imagine, after 15 years, I don't have the best recollection of it. I mean, I feel like I do because I've seen the movies so much, and I know with this book in particular, the movies follow the book really pretty well. But, reading it, I got to see all, the little things that weren't included, and also I could also see how well the movies actually did follow the book, because I would read lines that characters were saying and I could imagine the actors and actresses saying them in the movie, because I've seen those movies so many times. I've probably seen Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone like 100 times, and I'm not exaggerating in any way whatsoever. So when I reread Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, I started off reading this paperback copy, which is the original copy I owned. You see the corners torn. It says my name on the inside. The pages are yellowing and pretty kind of gross looking. Then I remembered once I was 50 pages in that I had the illustrated edition. So then I started reading Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the illustrated edition by Jim Kay, and oh my gosh, this book is amazing. The illustrated one. I mean, then obviously the normal one is too, but reading it with the beautiful illustrations Jim Kay made just elevated my reading experience so much, and it immersed me even more so. If you haven't seen these before, they're releasing books 1 through 7, but they're just releasing one a year. So in 2017, Prisoner of Azkaban came out and illustrated, so this year it's gonna be Goblet of Fire. They're pretty thick and big, but this book, lengthwise, is shorter than the paperback one. But they're so beautiful. They're a little pricey, but when you open up, okay, not the best page to open up to, but just look at these illustrations, and just so much detail has gone into these. I spent so much time analyzing each and every page of this and all the illustrations, and because they're just freaking amazing. And even on a page like this, where it seems like there's nothing special on there, you can see there's still a ton of detail in the background with how it is done, and they're all different. This one has scratches kind of on there, a little paint splatter at the bottom, and it's just, they're so amazing, and really just made my reading experience of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone so much better. So I tried to read the rest of the book with this version of it, and I loved it. The only thing I will say that kind of bothered me with this illustrated version is that in conversations, when characters are speaking, they don't use double quotes. They just use a single quote, which was kind of confusing to me. I really love this book, and I'm so glad I read it, and it makes me look forward to having kids one day and being able to read them Harry Potter just like my dad read to me, and I definitely am going to read it from this, because it kind of makes it more of a children's book, and the illustrations are so beautiful. And I have every single illustrated edition out to date, and I'm definitely going to keep getting them because they're amazing. And I'm just going to read the illustrated editions that are available to me. So the next 2 books, the Chamber of Secrets and Prisoner of Azkaban, I'll definitely be reading the illustrated copy of, and then the next 4 I'll probably just have to read normal paperback hardcover copies. So for like review, I don't know what to say. It's just an amazing book. I mean, it is like a middle grade book, so you know, it's not as in depth a little bit, you know, plot wise, character wise, you know, because it's for a younger audience. That being said, it's still really cool. I love how the entire time they were like, oh, Snape's taking advantage of Quirrell, and you know, obviously knowing what happens, I'm like, just wait and see. And I love being able to see all the, you know, things that the movies left out, because my memory of this book is like non-existent. I realized my memory that I thought I had of the book is literally just what happened in the movies. So like at the ending when they're actually in the, you know, get past Fluffy, you know, there's more than, you know, is seen in the movie. The Devil's Snare kind of seems a little different, and then, you know, after wizard chest, and there's like the potions, and Hermione goes back to get Ron at that point, and Harry like chooses the potions and then goes and sees Quirrell face to face. So that was a little different. I didn't remember that. Also, like in the movie, you know, when they get sent to detention in the Forbidden Forest, Ron is sent with Draco, Harry, and Hermione. But in the book, it's Neville instead of Ron, because Ron ended up in the hospital because he was bit by Norbert, and Harry and Hermione were trying to help free Norbert and send him down to Bill so he could take care of him with the other dragons. And I don't know, just seeing all of that, and you know, getting to see a little more of like the Dursleys, because in the movie, you know, you see them, but it's like for like 5-10 minutes where you don't really get to kind of see inside their minds and like why they hate, you know, Harry and like the wizarding world so much. And I felt like the book definitely did a better job kind of explaining that when you started off talking about Mr. Dursley, Vernon. And I just really liked it, and I realized I don't really have a review to say about it other than I really liked it. But like I said, everyone is, you know, familiar with these. I guess maybe I should have said spoiler alert, but I feel like they've been out for 20 years. You should know what happens in them. You should have read it by now. Chances are, if you haven't read them, you've seen the movie, and if you haven't, you still know what happened. Like, if you don't know the ending of these books and like the plot of them, I'd be super surprised. It's like not knowing Edward Cullen is a vampire. Spoiler alert. So, yeah, that is kind of my review of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. After I read that, I had to rewatch the first movie, and I loved it. I love Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It's probably my favorite movie, maybe. I don't actually know. I love them all. Harry Potter is my favorite movie series, and I say that's my favorite book series, but like I said, I've never actually read them. They were only read to me. And that was 15 years ago for the first one, and now like over 10 years ago for the last one. So, ooh, that's, I feel, but I'm so young. So that was my review of it all. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend you go reread these books. They're so amazing. Harry's birthday's coming up in just like 2 months, so perfect time to reread them. It took me a little longer than I would have liked because I'm working 3 jobs this summer, and it takes a lot of my time, and I get home and I'm just exhausted, and I try reading and I fall asleep at like 9 o'clock now, and I normally go to bed at like 1 a.m. so sleep schedule's off. I'm not able to read nearly as much. This book took me like almost a week to read, and I should have finished it in like a day, but oh well. So anywho, I hope you enjoyed that review of my rereading experience with Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Let me know your thoughts, and if you've reread Harry Potter and how many times down below. And if you have any other ideas of videos you'd like to see from me, also feel free to let me know. So thanks for watching. Bye.